Alistair Murray's the first one on today. And Blake Middleton saying cheers from the shores of Lake Macquarie. Oops, I mean, not Macquarie, that's where Jody lives.
Yes.
Jody Shields, he means Lake Minnetonka. I think he wishes he were at Lake Macquarie. Jonathan Frank saying hi from Greetings, in fact, from Galveston. Good day from Melbourne. Alistair is saying it's 0.1 degrees Celsius there. Assuming he means Celsius. Happy Tuesday, everybody. We've got our new streaming computer after we tested last night for an hour and 15 or 20 minutes. Thanks to all of you who helped with that test. Christopher Gillingham, ahoy and fair winds from the following seas from the Costa del Solent, Leamington.
Yes.
In the UK. We welcome all of you, as always. Let's get this one off the proverbial dock.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Tuesday, everybody. This is show number 538 for Tuesday, the 19th of 2022, 538.
Yes.
Why are you looking at me like that?
It just seems an impossible number.
Well, it is. I can't believe we were smart. We would have quit this a long time ago.
No. We're just getting you old.
Stingray checking in from sunny, 80 degrees Fahrenheit, Seattle. Blake Middleton. Everybody talks about the weather. We're currently enjoying gusty southwest winds at 20 to 37 knots. A bit sporty there on Lake Minnetonka, indeed.
Oh, yes.
90 degrees, Clark Chapin is saying in Plymouth, Michigan. We have a nice video, Julia, from Clark today.
Oh, good.
We are live from Studio B at the Beach Street Yacht Club. As usual, my co-host Julia Vadican is here and looking green. And
it's not easy being green.
I know what you mean. I'm Tommy Eamon's courses. Unless you're new here, you wouldn't maybe know that, but welcome to all of you. We say Taco Tuesday, but really, I think we're going to say we're going to start doing this with a different class each week. At least if they are T classes or F classes. I don't know what we'll do about classes that don't start with T or F for Tuesday or Friday. So instead of Taco Tuesday, it's Happy Tazar Tuesday. This beautiful shot sent up by Alistair Murray. We're going to have Alistair's anecdote on awesome Aussie anecdotes on Friday, not today. But the Tazar, as several of you know, especially those of you up in the Pacific Northwest or in the UK, Australia, where the class is popular, Canada as well. The Tazar is a nearly 15-foot fiberglass two-person sailing dinghy. My wife and I raced one for a while. With a mainsail and a jib, it's very light. It planes upwind. Designed by Frank Bethwaite of Sydney in 1975. The boat was technologically advanced for its time and continues to evolve.
In what way?
Well, they've changed the sails now. They've got Mylar sails. They've got see-through clear plastic. See the sails on that boat?
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of cool.
Yep.
Look at the name of this boat. Alistair's, his anecdote, which I say I'm going to run on Friday, is about boat names.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that?
Clairvoyant.
Clairvoyant. And that will be Alistair's AAA. We can't say AAA or AA. We got to say Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote on Friday. But speaking of Sydney, here's a live shot from the Sydney Harbor Bridge live view, the webcam down there at, slightly after 6 in the morning in Sydney. That's a new feature of having this particularly wicked up computer. Julia, what do you think of that?
I think that's wonderful.
And that is live. You can see the lights blinking on top of the building. Right. You can see the bridge.
Yes.
We'll feature different cities live.
Awesome.
Alistair saying that shot is before he had gray hair. Ted Ryman is saying hi from Cape Town. Ed Worley cheers. Jonathan Frank. I don't know what that means. 190 at 18, 22. I don't know what that all means, Jonathan Frank. 34 Celsius, apparently in Texas. Morris Stevens in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Gordon Smith, good evening, everyone. Denmark, home to 3 of the world's best 50 restaurants, including I saw that. That list that just came out. It looks like the new box is working fine. Yep, Jonathan Frank, Tier DeYoung down in SoCal. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for those of we did that test. Julie, you were upstairs in the Commodore's suite and saw the test. And we tested on here for about,
2 hours.
Well, not quite an hour and 20 minutes, and then I fiddle-farted around after that. But the new box, which is over behind here, has replaced, as I said during the test yesterday, the Mac Mini, which is an M1 Mac Mini. It's a good machine. But the new one is got a lot of RAM and got very, very super good GPU graphic and the CPU and the GPU. So we've got we're now streaming at 5,000 kilobits per second.
I love the picture it gives.
And we are dropping virtually no frames. It's just to be able to do that. And the CPU usage right now is running at 12.5%. So it's less than half of what it was when we were using the other computer. And it allows us, because of the graphics, to be able to take a lot of images, a lot of cameras, a lot of different sources, including this live view from Sydney. Good morning down there to our Aussie friends and to our Kiwi friends, where it is, of course, Wednesday morning. It is not Taco Tuesday. It's not Taser Tuesday. And those of you in the UK, it's a little warm over there. We've been seeing on the news this morning about you setting a new record. They're north of 40 Celsius, 104 Fahrenheit today. That was the scene. You know where that is, Julia? We had a couple meetings down there. That is Brighton. Well, you can see the Brighton Pier on top of the building. And it's a very popular, obviously, summer destination on the south coast. And the UK breaks the temperature record as a heat wave soars past 104 Fahrenheit, according to the Daily News, the paper in New York, Long Island, which is north of 40. And our CBS LA talking about not only the UK, but also about the heat in France and Spain. Look at this fire on this video in Spain.
Shows passengers on a train staring at flames surrounding them. The train was passing through a burning forest. They had to stop for a few minutes as a precaution. There are 30 forest fires burning in Spain right now.
Oh, we
this
know that
comes
too.
as the so-called heat apocalypse rages on in Europe. Temps are about 30 degrees above normal in some places. The heat wave has caused more than 1,000 deaths. Today, Britain set the record for the hottest day in history at 104 degrees and climbing.
Okay, so it's warm. I think this is, James Bland is saying 42C, so it's 100 plus in Austin today and for the foreseeable future. Yeah, it's summer. Replying to Facebook user, yikes. That's Jonathan Frank, where it's warm.
Yes.
In Galveston, no doubt. And so that is what a device one might need, especially living in Spain. But you know, when all that time we lived in Spain, it was just from May, June through September. You had 100 plus, you had 40 plus days, a lot of them. It was in the 30s.
And the heat of the day was inside and with everything closed.
Well, not really. It was because you were in and out. We had a pool, and we just left. You tried to keep the place closed up, keep the cool air in until it really did get warm, and until maybe the sea breeze came in off the Mediterranean.
Right.
We weren't close to the Med, a couple, but we could see it. Am I denying climate change? Yarvahe is asking. No, I'm not. I just am not also thinking that all of these. I think we're in a much longer term cycle than just the Industrial Revolution, but we should still clean the air up. There's no question about that. But no, in Spain, we just, once midday came around, you opened the house up and you went down, took a dip in the pool, and then came back and worked until you couldn't stand it anymore. But it was air conditioning going in and out. Air conditioning is tough on you. I like the climate here in San Francisco where we have natural air conditioning.
Yes.
Never as much warmer than about 65 Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
What other comments? Julie Aarons in sunny Cleveland, where the temperature's 88 F. The runway at Luton reportedly melted today. Luton, one's of the airport, Luton in London. And it was a record-setting day there. But do you know what day it is, Julia? Otherwise,
no.
There's your first and only clue.
Hugs.
I had it. I think I put the full name in the show.
Hug your kid today.
It is. Show notes. Global Hug Your Kids Day, which is always a good thing to do. We grew up in a huggy family. Not all Brits are not huggy. Some of the Asian families are not huggy. Global Hug Your Kids Day was started by Michelle Nichols in 2008, a decade after her son Mark sadly died of brain cancer at the age of 8.5. The day reminds mom and dads and all the rest of us, especially those who are working parents and often gone, to show affection to their kids by hugging them every day. John Emmett says he's huggy. Hugging has been around for millennia and is, I didn't know all this, and is practiced by almost all cultures as a way to connect to others without using language. Hugs have traditionally been given in many scenarios as a greeting or goodbye, for sympathy and congratulations, and for gratitude, support, and, of course, affection. The word hug, I didn't know this either, seems to have come from hugga, an Old Norse word meaning to comfort. Hug was first used around 1610 to describe a wrestling hold. Did you know that?
No.
I didn't either. A wrestling hold.
I think the Old Norse used it before that.
Maybe. It began being used for its current meaning in the 1650s. So that's, pretty recent. 1650. 200 years before the Americans got. Hugs may release a hormone called oxytocin into the bloodstream. This hormone produced in the pituitary gland helps lower blood pressure, heart rate, and the stress hormone cortisol. It also reduces anxiety, improves mood and memory, and increases bonding and closeness. Those who hug often tend to have increased empathy for others. In order for hugs to be beneficial, those participating must trust each other and both want to hug. Otherwise, the opposite effect happens and cortisol levels rise, causing stress. Right?
Right.
Julia?
I love hugs.
I do too. And you know what? In celebration of Hug Your Kids Day, not that I'm a kid.
Yeah?
Or that you're a kid, I'm going to unplug my headset and come over and have a hug.
Oh, what a good idea.
A hug on National Hug Your Kids. And Best Friends and Commodore Day. Hug your Commodore.
What a good idea. Thank you.
Hug your Commodore Day.
Yay.
I have a meeting at the YC tonight, and I think I'll hug our He's a huggy guy, Pete.
Yeah.
Gilmore, Commodore Gilmore. Hugging is cool, Ted Ryman says. Ed Worley say you can never tell your children you love them. You can't, that you love them too many times. Media hype. I used to do a lot of hugging wrestling in the back seat of my car in high school. I think that's James Bland again.
That sounds like
on here his face. But look at all that was sweet. Yay for the hug, Stingray. Hugging is the best medicine. Yes, it does produce oxytocin. Is Julie Aarons a nurse, a retired nurse? I don't
know.
I think we talked about that one time on the phone.
She'll tell us.
She'll tell us, hopefully, in the comments. No hugs till Plymouth, Yarvi. This thing. Some sad news here. I just learned, Julie, I haven't told you this. I just learned from Commodore Tom Pace at the Pensacola Yacht Club that our dear friend and fozy, Talbot Wilson, passed away over the weekend. And we were hoping to have Talbot, who's a PR expert and just a terrific sailor and a terrific guy.
Yeah.
But last night when we were doing the test, Commodore Tom Pace of the Pensacola Yacht Club came on and broke the news. He said, I don't know if you heard this. And then kindly, he sent me these notes, these words this morning about Talbot. Dear, and this is what he sent out to the Pensacola Yacht Club members, Commodore Tom Pace. He said, it is with the utmost sadness that I'm sharing the news that we've lost our dear friend Talbot Wilson, an icon across international sailing competition. Talbot was a gifted writer and marketing specialist, never shrinking from any opportunity to promote Pensacola Yacht Club, Pensacola, and the sailors that raced on our waters, and beyond Pensacola, to be fair. Through his worldwide travels and involvement in multiple America's Cup events, Talbot crafted a unique ability to tell the story of sailing unlike any other person. Past Commodore Alan McMillan knows Talbot as, quote, one of the best idea men in history. Tom continues, Commodore Pace saying, born in New Orleans and brought up amongst the flair of that food, music, and history, his exceptional feel for life fueled his interactions with all who knew him. The past number of years featured multiple accomplishments, from his unprecedented regatta sponsorships to raising and showing champion Labrador retrievers with his beautiful wife, Virginia, who I've not met, but I've seen many pictures. To enjoy these times of growing success at PYC, the Pensacola Yacht Club, the branding and rebuilding of our storied racing history and exceptional experiences on the water now with American Magic. It's spectacular. And to do so with Talbot will remain, I think he means without Talbot, but it will remain my honor and privilege. And I guess he maybe does mean with Talbot as well. So he's going to be sadly missed. And we were hoping to have him on again, Julie. We talked about getting Talbot on to do another PR. Maybe we'll replay that.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
I'll ask to be sure Virginia's okay. He passed away, apparently had mesothelioma, passed away over the weekend. And had a bout and then was, because I talked to him not too long ago and he was coming good, and then apparently suddenly passed away, sadly, on over the weekend. Posey, our dear friend, longtime friend, Talbot Wilson, 1944 to 2022, may he rest in peace. Okay, on that sad note, we get into show 538 for Tuesday, the 19th of July. Getting ready for Governor's Cup. We'll tell you some more about that with Porter Kavle. But here at the starting line, let's do, as usual, our submission. Who's doing another walk on the beach today? John Emmett, Master Mentor.
Hi Tom, Julia and all the Fosey. You join me again for a bit more walking and talking. Probably going to turn the camera around a little bit and you can see where I am. Walking along a stony beach up near Langston Harbour. Probably pretty safe at the moment from getting my feet wet. Somebody's pulled the plug out. It's quite spring tides here around Hayling Island. So yeah, poor little boat currently sat with their keels on the bottom in the mud at the moment. But this again, part of my active recovery, and I mean that both mentally, have a little reframe, and physically. It's good to do an active recovery. My accommodation has actually got a gym here, so that's probably quite a good way of getting the lactic acid out your legs. So for people who hike, you'll be familiar with that burning feeling. That's the accumulation of lactic acid in your legs, which is why when we train, we often train at the obla level, the onset of build-up of lactic acid, so we get used to that feeling. I mean, it's actually, if you like, not a bad thing. Lactic acid is metabolized by your body as a source of energy. It's just like most things in life. Can't imagine what I'm thinking of. Too much might be a bad thing. So yeah, it's good to do the active recovery. And the Brits, we love to talk about the weather. No one ever does anything about it. And yeah, crikey, I don't know how else you make small talk, but for us, it's been really hot, really hot. So it's actually more pleasant to go for a walk than to go inside. And it's quite hard on your skin to do that change from hot and humid to cold and dry. We had a few problems, myself working with my now wife, Ligia Shu, for the Rio Olympic Games with the skin, because we had that sort of hot, humid conditions in Rio. So that was, yeah, big learning experience myself. It's always hard to go from one environment to another. So I'm here, Langston Harbour, just talking a little bit about injury. We talked about it yesterday, or rather the last show. Nothing to do with my fingers. It's actually my core, which I broke. So the intercostal muscles, I'm not sure if I fractured a rib or just strained the muscles, but kinesthetic tape, I did contemplate showing you, but I was really worried for the viewership of Sailing Illustrated that if I got my white, hairy English tummy out, that maybe some people would stop subscribing and they wouldn't actually watch it again. So yeah, kinesthetic tape, I use Rock Tape, that's a company I've worked with for a long time, but there's a lot of other good products out there, and you can try see what works for you. You can actually just look on YouTube for videos how to apply. I got my sailor Abu taped me up tonight, so I'm going to spare you the view. So of course you do need to rest a little bit with injuries, but active recovery is probably the most important thing. Now this is going to go horribly wrong. I've got a bit of a ditch in front of me, so hopefully I'm not going to fall down. It's really nice to come out this time of evening and just sort of put put my thoughts to bed. I think what I probably discovered is what muscles you use in sailing, and the kinetic side, the core side, is really important, because having a bit of pain after my slip, when obviously I tore something inside, I was very reluctant to move, and it made a big difference to my upwind speed. So that's a really interesting thing, and sometimes you only discover these things the hard way. So yeah, that's a good reason to have a strong core. It does protect you from injury, but it definitely makes you fast as well. And I think one of the things that we try and do on a regular basis is just to try and look after that core, because you'll find there's quite a few sailors from all parts of the sport who will have spinal injuries, and that's part of the body you need to be very, very careful of. So if you bought a car and you were told that you would buy this car, and this would be the one car that you would have for the rest of your life, you can pretty much guarantee you would take very, very good care of that car. And it's the same with your body. You only have one body, so you need to take really good care of it. Another thing I'll do, I'll probably give a bit of feedback, is just to have a few blood tests and things, and look at the nutrients or lack of in your body, because obviously if you push yourself hard, it is possible to have deficiencies there, and it all adds to, you know, looking after your health. So no sailing footage today, but a lot of chat, hopefully some of it useful. And yeah, I think my message, just, you know, look after yourselves, look after each other, and hopefully have a fantastic show.
And give each other, excuse me, a lot of hugs.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Give each other a lot of
Absolutely.
hugs. It's good to hear that John's a hugger.
Yeah.
And he ended his video with this Ukrainian flag. I'm sorry, this war is not going to be over anytime soon. It's looking more and more like a proxy war between us and the Western allies, for that matter, the NATO allies, and Russia. And of course, President Putin is in Tehran today, and I'm sure that's going to go really well. Nice walk and talk, Gordon Smith is saying. Nice report, John. Ted Ryman. Yep, I hope you get well soon, John. And I can say, as I'll give John some credit here on his final slide, John Emmett sailing, get to the front of the fleet. I can say that having had two major back operations, lower back L5S1 and L4 L5, as a result of playing the two sports are probably as bad or worse for your lower back as any, and that, of course, is sailing and hockey. Because hockey, you skate around like this, bent over, and
Yeah.
And by the time I was 20, I'd had the first one done, and then 30, the second one. And the thing that I learned, and John's absolutely right, core is so important for everything one does. And when they tell you coming out of one of those surgeries that you got some PT to do,
Yep.
the first time I didn't ignore it, but I didn't pay particular attention. You got to do that. You got to do the PT. And I tell anybody that's having any particularly back surgery, listen to the doctors, do the PT, and big picture, long term, I think you will be better off. Do you agree?
I'm starting over again.
You are. You got a PT guy, right?
I do. Nice one.
And I told your doc that it needed to be some cute young guy who came up and showed up in a jockstrap. Is that
Well,
true?
he's a cute young guy, but he, as far as I know, he's hiding his jockstrap.
John Emmett, get to the front of the fleet. John Emmett Sailing. Thank you, Coach Emmett. Good words, kind words today, as always, here on our show number 538. This day in history, while we're still on the UK where it's hot, where John Emmett is giving us some good advice. What happened, Julie, on this day in history in 1843?
43.
Here's a hint.
Okay.
We talked about a little bit older, newer ship a few years after this one, but this was and it helps put the America's Cup in perspective when you think about it, because, you know, the Americans, pre-industrial or just the budding industrial society, go over there with their yacht and they sail around the Isle of Wight when Imperial England was at the top of the heap.
Right.
And launching ships like this.
Mm-hmm.
And for the Americans, the upstart Americans, go over and beat them in sailing and yacht racing was pretty astonishing. This is in 1843, which is 8 BAC, 8 before the America's Cup. In 1851, that's the launch of the SS Great Britain, in a painting by Joseph Walter.
I don't know that.
I know the name, but I didn't know all of the history. But on this date in 1843, the steamship, and apparently it also had some sails, but not a lot. Steamship SS Great Britain is launched, designed by the same guy, Isambard Kingdom Brunel.
Yeah.
It's the first ocean-going craft with an iron hull or screw propeller. Not and, or. First iron-hulled vessel, first vessel with a screw propeller, and the largest vessel afloat in the world.
Good heavens.
It was a bit of a deal. In 1843, 8 years before the America's Cup. Looks like the SS Great Britain. Christopher Gillingham had it. Isambard Brunel. David James had it. The Warrior, no. SS Great Britain. I'm just not sure which one. You had it. Gordon Smith all knew it. I'm lucky, back on therapy, I'm lucky that we have a physical therapist in the family. My brother-in-law, we'll be leaning on him a lot, so to speak, during Karen's recovery. Yeah. The Naval Academy was, and I think Facebook user is James Bland out of Texas, and I think he went to the academy. The Naval Academy was established about that time, our Naval Academy, and it was established in Newport, Rhode Island. And the building where it was housed is still there. It's as a National Historic Monument before it moved to Annapolis, closer to Washington, D.C. And John Sangmeister, our Fosian who's been on the show, many of you will know from SoCal, has said any number of times that the Americans had fully understood that if you ruled the waves, you ruled the world, and that doing this whole America's Cup thing, going over and challenging them, was to start a shipbuilding industry, to starting modernizing the U.S.'s approach to
trade,
to Navy, and to shipborne trade, and to get us as a modern nation. So I don't know how much of that. Well, I don't know how much of that is true and how much of that is, is modern day, historical restatement. But interesting thoughts. Yeah. The USNA, October 1845. So 2 years later. Denise Peterson is on. Hi, Denise. We're going to have her son on a week from today. He's over sailing now in, that is Jeffrey, our Fosie. Jeffrey Peterson's over there sailing in the Worlds, the Youth World Match Racing Championship in France. And
how's he doing?
It's just getting underway, so I'm not sure there's a house. I think they're practicing. I think they flew over the last couple of days. David James is saying that boat was also the first iron steamer to cross the Atlantic. So, an historical occasion.
Yes.
A lot of years ago, 1843, this day in history, Stingray saying, in what city was the SS Great Britain launched? By the painting, it almost looks like Cork. Somebody will know. Somebody will Google that, and we'll know. Thanks for that. Thanks for this day in history. My favorite segment. I like that.
Well, we learn a lot
Well, hopefully.
Yeah.
Sometimes we gas.
I don't know how useful it is, but I really love learning it.
Sometimes I think we just gas back
a lot. Yeah, we do.
Okay. Let's get to our featured segment today. What was that, the music? Yeah. Too loud? I cut it down. Balboa Yacht Club hosting the prestigious International Youth Match Racing Championship, the oldest in the world, the Governor's Cup, starting next Monday. And there's Jeffrey Peterson on the right with his winning crew. They're the defending champs in 2022. And today we're in the 10th episode of having interviewed all these sailors, at least 9 of them so far that we've aired. We've interviewed them all, and today we will air the 10th. And that is Annapolis native Porter Kavle, who's living now in Newport, Rhode Island. Speaking of Newport, where we caught up with him a few days ago, Andy Rose and myself, and interviewed him. Well, welcome to the 10th episode of Road to the 2022 Governor's Cup, the prestigious International Youth Match Racing Championship, hosted annually by the esteemed Balboa Yacht Club in Newport Beach, California. This is the 55th year. Again, today we have GovCup guru Andy Rose from Newport Beach, and today's featured skipper is Porter Kavle from the Eastport Yacht Club in Annapolis, Maryland. Welcome, gentlemen. Andy, over to you.
Well, thanks, Tom. It's good to be with you for the 10th time here with 2 to go. Before we only have 2 weeks for the Governor's Cup. Porter, welcome. We haven't seen you since last year at the Governor's Cup.
Yeah, thank you. How are you guys?
Good. Getting ready. So you're in Newport, Rhode Island right now. You're sailing in the Rolex Regatta, I understand. On what boat?
It's an EHMAN 47 turbo. It's a brand new boat that we just got about 3 weeks ago. So Rolex Race Week is this Wednesday through Saturday.
All right. Well, that's great. You probably won't, but I hope you get a chance to go by the Sailing Museum, which we
hopefully so. Yeah, I haven't been yet, but I'd like to check it out.
Which we just opened in May. I'm a director of the Hall of Fame and the Sailing Museum, and I'll tell you, we had seen, as board members, had seen virtual reality renderings and that kind of stuff. Is 20 times. Those were awesome. It's 20 times better than that. It's truly amazing. So if you get a chance, stop by. Our executive director, Heather Rusham, is there, and if she's there, be sure to say hello for me. She's one of the most competent human beings I've ever met. Has done an incredible job with the museum.
Yeah,
but let's talk about the Governor's Cup. We'll get into some slides in a second here. But you, in your first Governor's Cup last year, you were a semifinalist. Were you pleased with that?
Yeah, definitely. We had a great event coming down to the last day. It was a big breeze. We were pretty stoked on how it went, and hoping to get back in the semis this year and hopefully get to the #1 spot. That's the goal.
All right. Well, last year I don't know. You hadn't sailed much in Newport, in the other Newport, our Newport out here.
Yeah, the left coast Newport. No, I haven't sailed there much at all. I sailed in San Diego. I sailed Starboats out of San Diego Yacht Club a few times, but never out of Balboa.
Yeah, the reason I say that is that don't think that last year was typical conditions for Newport Beach, because it wasn't.
That's what I've been hearing.
Although we have had more westerlies in the last couple of years than we had before that. So you never know, but happily the boats, the Governor's Cup 22, sail very well in light air. So it should be fun. Tom's going to go to the slides here. This is sort of for Americans will understand, this is sort of this is your life show. And we have some slides from way back. And so let's get going to the slides and tell everybody a little about Porter here.
Porter, this looks like from the Optimist era.
Yeah, definitely. That was, I was a little kid then. That was 2012. I won the USODA Sportsmanship Award, and that's my coach there. At the time, he was Peter Strong. We had a great team, about 15 of us Opti kids, and did the whole, national circuit, team racing and everything, and had a ball. That was in Ohio that year, actually. So that was a fun event.
You went on to win the Sears Cup, which is the U.S.'s our national junior triple-handed championship. Dates back to 1921. You were the only third team from Annapolis to win it, as far as I remember.
Yeah, we had a great event. Again, that was down in Mission Bay. We were sailing Lightnings that year. It's pretty fun. That's a hilarious picture. That was actually the same crew who I sailed with at the Governor's Cup last year. Willie Comerford's in the middle, and Jake Vickers there on the right. So they're the two best friends from forever, and we sailed together a long time. So
I thought that originally when I saw that picture, I thought that was for a fashion shoot.
It's colorful.
God, no.
If you guys don't look like, I'll tell you what, for Americans that have sailed all over the country, you could pick out that picture and not tell us where it was, and we would know it was East Coast.
Absolutely. yeah, not far off.
That's actually, go ahead.
That was just a fun event. We were kids. That was the first time we ever done a big travel event like that.
But you've been doing a lot of J70 sailing lately. I think this is from Charleston Race Week, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. So that was Charleston Race Week 2017. Actually, again, with the same crew, myself, Jake Vickers, Will Comerford, and we had Leo Boucher join us, who's now doing the laser Olympic development program. We kind of had a youth campaign there going on for 2 years. We actually sailed the inaugural J70 Youth Championship, which was here in Newport that summer of 2017. So it's kind of like a ladder stage event. It was really cool. We had a couple really good sponsors. Hark and Blockheads, that was kind of their first rollout with their program of youth sailing. We had a ball with that. So that was a good
and like Will Sargent in Australia, you've done a lot of offshore racing. Will Sargent's he told us when we interviewed him, Andy, that he's done the Sydney Hobart race, and you've won the Collegiate Keelboat Championship.
Yes, that was fun. Sydney Hobart's definitely on the bucket list. But yeah, it was pretty cool. I went to Fordham University, which is in New York City. Surprisingly, we do have a sailing team. Pretty good. We had a great nationals this year. And I think my freshman or sophomore year, we were 10th at the nationals that were hosted here. But we started an offshore team in 2019. That was the first year we ever did it. And we had a couple really good guy, Will Ingram from Larchmont Yacht Club, who donated his boat to us. We put a really good crew together of, a bunch of dinghy kids on our team who were all from the area, who sailed big boats. And we had a great run at it for 2 years. We won our class both years. And then in 2019 won overall, which was great.
And speaking of big boats, this may be Andy's favorite class.
Yeah, it is.
Definitely. So, so I've been doing the 12-meter program now up here in Newport for it's be 5 years, going on 6, with the Challenge 12 program. We've had a really good run. We did a great refit on the boat in 2017, and then did a campaign for the 2019 Worlds, which ended up we won, which was very cool. So we won the modern division. It was great. We had 9 boats on the line for our class, and I think Newport in total, with the Grand Prix and vintage boats, there were a total of 32 12 meters here, which was great and is a really competitive event. So that's the program that I still am in charge of now, and we're doing a campaign for the 2023 Worlds, which will be here in Newport, Rhode Island in July.
You know what Andy's done in 12 meters starting in before 1977.
Absolutely.
On another boat like Challenge 12, designed by my late wonderful friend. I knew him long enough that I remember when he was Bob Miller before he became Ben Lexon. And I believe Challenge 12 is the boat that was built along with Australia 2 as a conventional version of Australia 2, I believe.
Correct.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it's great sister ship. Great Ben Lexan design. It's a fast boat.
Ben was just one of the great people of all time, and funnier than hell, and brilliant, as we always said. 7 out of 10 of his ideas were ridiculous, and the other 3 were genius.
The 3 were genius, right? Yeah, and seemed to pay off.
Yeah. That boat, I think it's fair to say that had they used what is now Challenge 12 instead of Australia 2, I think they probably still would have won the cup. So
I agree. Yeah, it's a great boat.
Well, that's an aggressive call, but I don't see your dad in this shot. But as you know, Porter, I'd known your dad since the mid-'80s when he and I did an America's Cup campaign together for New York Yacht Club, the America 2 campaign. Here he is with you, I guess. Is that Newport, Rhode Island?
Yep. So that's in Newport. That was at the 2019 12 Worlds. So he is actually he was on the tender for that day. He didn't sail with us, couldn't make a couple of the events prior. But, for all our big major regattas, he's always there, Worlds, North Americans, things like that.
Give him my regards, please, because he's one of my favorite people from those days, that Cup campaign in particular. But let's go forward now to Governor's Cup 2021.
Yep. So breezy, which I heard never, that was a one-time thing, but hopefully it comes back.
We do too, because as commentators, I said on one of the other interviews, it's not easy to commentate when the leeward legs are taking about 2 minutes.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It was quick. It was rapid fire. Remember, we were blowing through sets, no problem. Downwinds were pretty entertaining.
Well, you should be in good shape here with you're one of the crews, and there aren't that many of them this year that are the same crew who were here last year. So you may have a bit of an advantage there. There won't be much of a learning curve on the boats, other than perhaps in the really light air. But at least, having the same crew we are always reminded how important the crews are. There are some maneuvers which that you try something, and the only way it will succeed if the crew does their job perfectly.
Right.
Or even to allow you to think you can do that maneuver, you have to have confidence in your crew, and that's great that you're bringing the same people back.
Andy, let me go to one more slide and get comments from both of you, because we started with a Sportsmanship Award and we're ending with a Sportsmanship Award. Tell us about this trophy, which Porter and his crew won in 2021 at the GovCup.
Well, I've always thought that, we'll let Porter speak in a second, but I've always thought that the Sportsmanship Award was almost, as major as the cup itself in whatever you're sailing for. It's voted on by your fellow competitors and the umpires. and it's a secret boat taken after the series. In this case, it's the Chet and Glee Purcell Sportsmanship Award. Chet and Glee founded the Governor's Cup and helped create a lot of our sailing careers by doing that. And so I think to get that last year was quite an honor for you guys, and I congratulate you again. Usually those things go to the people way down the finishing list. They don't generally go to semifinalists, so that's sort of doubly good, meaning you sailed very well and everybody thought you were great to sail against and fair and all that. So congratulations again.
Yeah, thank you, appreciate it. Yeah, it was a great event, and we had a tough time kind of in the semifinals with a couple breakdowns and things like that, but we're all, we all sail outside of, you sailing, things like that. We understood that, accidents happen, things break. So, instead of, sitting there complaining, why don't you the next option is, how can we fix it? What can we do? Help out. That's the name.
Yeah. So, well, we appreciate that. The boats, were tested without question. The boats were built to sail in pretty much anything, but that was the top range.
That was definitely the top end, yeah, which was great. We pushed them, and I mean, they performed phenomenally well, which we were really excited about.
Yeah, they're great fun, but they've all been all the holes have been repaired, and the equipment has been most of the equipment's been replaced. Just the bosuns, who do a terrific job, found that just the boats are only really used once or most twice a year. Mm-hmm. And when they sit up there in a dry condition, a lot of the lines and the halyards and various things just weren't in shape. So we fixed all that, so I don't think you'll have any issues. Last question for you. Have you sailed much against the Australians and the Kiwis and the Brits?
No, I've not. This will be a first. It's kind of been a while. Actually never done any match racing outside of the country. Stuff I've done fleet racing and, travel and things like that. But no, never sailed against those guys. So we're just hoping that, we've been doing a bunch of training up here, good sparring partners, renting, boats from Sail Newport that we go out and match race Thursdays, Mondays, things like that. So hopefully we'll see how it goes. And, I'm really looking forward to sailing against these guys.
It's quite a group. And there's, the interesting thing is that they've been sort of sequestered on their island and continent and haven't been able to sail. So they're just as curious about sailing against you guys as you are about sailing against them. But a typical Governor's Cup, this looks like a typical Governor's Cup fleet. We've got 3 Australians, 2 Kiwis, and a UK entry in. And Marius Westerlund from Sweden will be back.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, so as I said, he got the not the sportsmanship award, but I think we gave him the informal miscongeniality award.
He got the personality award, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He was a riot. He was very funny.
Gentlemen, that was great. Thank you very much. We'll see you on Monday, the 25th.
25th.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Really looking forward to it.
See you
anyway. Thanks, Tom.
He is another. I mean, all these kids are just amazing.
They are.
And I'm really glad we started this Road to the GovCup thing. We only did 4 or 5, maybe 6 last year. I can't remember. I went back and looked. I thought we'd done them all, but like Porter said, no, I didn't do this last year. And I was surprised to find out that he was right.
Imagine
that. He was right and I was wrong. How can that be?
How can that be? Yeah.
But he is an impressive guy, Stingray. Thank you. And an awesome attitude, Jonathan Frank, saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, the GovCup 22s are pretty good boats, Chris, actually, as you know. And Alistair Murray back on the 12-meter stuff. Challenge 12 was as fast as Australia 2 in trials on Port Phillip Bay. They were dead level after 40 or 50 races. In Newport, they gradually fed the best sails, equipment, and crew towards Australia 2. My very good mate, John Savage, was the Challenge 12 helm, twice Etchel's world champion. And, of course, they had 3 boats. They had another boat that was quite radical. They had, in the campaign was called Advance Australia Challenge. Mm-hmm. And those were the names of the 3 boats. Advance, which Ian Murray steered. Australia, which we're talking about Australia 2, of course. And then Challenge, what is now Challenge 12. And I don't necessarily agree. I mean, having watched that series and talked with a lot of the gang, I think in the conditions in Port Phillip Bay, and they were still learning how to sail Australia 2, with that one keel and so on. But once they got the kites sorted out on Australia 2, they were so much faster downwind than Liberty and than any conventional 12. I doubt whether I think Dennis would have figured out how to beat another conventional 12, like he almost beat Australia 2. It was 4-3.
Yes.
Mary Longpre. So, hello, Mary, a super photographer and a big fan of Australia herself, goes down with her husband, spends a lot of time in Oz, goes to Hamilton Island Race Week, usually about this time of year and next month. So excited to get to see you and all the teams next Tuesday at the start of GovCup racing. Yeah, Mary, I hear you're not going to be at the Monday night dinner. So I hope Tom Walker's there. We have 2 superb photographers down there, Mary Longpre and Tom Walker. And having worked with them now for years, they know what I want. I know what they need, and we get everything orchestrated and promoted. It's like Talbot.
Super.
It's like Talbot Wilson, the late great.
Yeah.
Working with that guy, another thing.
It's always a lesson working with him.
Well, it was, but more than that, you knew what he wanted. He knew what he expected of you, and vice versa. And that's why working with people like Mary Longpre is. And the rest of that gang, I mean, that GovCup gang, we keep talking about it, they're all volunteers. Our whole TV team are volunteers. And after, I've been doing that, I guess, a dozen years down there. And everybody sort of knows just how to get on with life.
Well, it is impressive. No question about that.
We're back to number 11 on Friday. We'll have Ansgar Jordan, German family down in Coronado. He's a hell of a good athlete. Good sailor, Coronado Yacht Club. We caught up with him in, I think, Boston. And Andy and I spoke with him. Another super bright kid. He'll tell you on the show in his interview on our Friday show, episode number 11. Then I'll have Jeffrey Peterson, the defending champ, our Fozy, who will be on next Tuesday. And we've taped him already because he's now traveling. He's in Europe racing, as I mentioned. He will be our 12th and final interviewee next Tuesday, and on our Tuesday show that I'll do from Balboa Yacht Club. Denise Peterson is on here. His mom helped me with that show last year. I don't know if she's going to be at GovCup. Denise, are you? But we'll also have Regatta Chair Christine Gribben on that show.
Oh, good.
I'll interview her live and talk about the regatta. She's what a terrific.
Yeah, she is.
She is.
She should be sainted.
She should be. Well, it's like Susan Rooney here at St. Francis that chaired the Big Boat Series.
Right.
It's a fine line between how, continuing to do it before you lose your edge or you get tired or bored.
Yeah.
Or keeping to do it, keep doing it because you're so good at it.
Yeah.
And maybe blocking other people from coming along that would love to do it. Maybe even do something novel and good. I don't know.
Yeah.
Christine Gribben, don't retire anytime soon. Please. We have Ansgar Jordan on Friday. We're live next Monday night for the Meet the Teams, the gentle roast that Andy does of the teams Monday night at 8 p.m. Morning shows. I'll do my show Tuesday, and then Wednesday through Saturday, pre-race morning shows. Friday, live racing at 11:30. Friday afternoon, the press conference with the semifinalists, the 4 semifinal skippers, and Saturday, racing again live for the remainder of the semis and the finals at 11:30, and the press conference and award ceremony live at 4:30 that afternoon. All at Balboa Yacht Club, the home of the prestigious International Youth Match Racing Championship next week, Monday through Saturday, the 55th Governor's Cup. And we will do a Tuesday show, but no show next Friday because I'll be on the water with Andy doing the commentary for the live racing. Okay, America's Cup news is not a lot. There was a press release out today by ETNZ, by Ace, and it was written by Magnus, who's now working. Yeah, we told you. We broke that news on here. One here is Magnus had gone to work. That's why his blog, a Rule 69 blog, sadly, has had to end because his new bosses have said, well, if you want to write for us, for America's Cup events, ACE, you can't do your blog.
Huh.
So he wrote a piece today about this new, for the first time, they've got a centralized spying outfit, recon. The polite word is reconnaissance, recon. And different teams have nominated people to be on this unit, and they're doing centralized spying, sending all the data together, and then feeding it to everybody, including, they say, the fans. Now, you be the judge, but that sounds to me like it's fraught. there are going to be people still out spying, even though they're not supposed to, doing their own recon. And there will be protests, and I don't understand it, but maybe it'll be fun.
Is that kind of spying really useful?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if this collective thing, I think the collective thing is great for the defender.
Yeah.
Because they'll gather all this data and prevent everybody else from gathering intimate data. So I think this is the defender once again taking advantage of the challengers. Now, Julie Ahrens will disagree with me and say, oh, they're saving money and everybody's in favor of it, but who knows? If everyone knows, nobody knows. Right.
That's got to be true.
Andrew Pindar, hope all is well, team. Looking forward to catching up on replay. The Highlands of Scotland had my attention this week. Enjoy that. Gordon Smith is agreeing with me, saying, doesn't the centralized spying give ETNZ a colossal advantage? I think so. Ed Worley agrees the idea is croutonic. Another whole week without a show, probably will have time to get some sailing action. Okay. The new AC Recon program seems most useful to ACE. Provide material for a sail to survive kind of series, but it should be fun for fans. I agree with that, Stinger. I think those are two good points. And it will be good for the fans. Hopefully they'll provide centralized info. But, you know, the media hopefully did that job too. So that's the America's Cup report, except for this one little tidbit. And we continue to hear, and from various foesy, the K-Challenge, whatever will be, will be. Why are you laughing?
Yeah.
K-Challenge will announce their challenge imminently. That seems to be the word all around, or at least inside the cup.
Has been, but by the 31st, what they
well, that's the cutoff.
Yeah.
And I think you can challenge after the 31st, but you have to pay a big penalty, like another $1 million entry fee. So why?
Oh, just another $1 million.
So why would you? But that seems to be coming. Don't put words in my mouth, Julie.
I know. That's what I was laughing at.
Well, what do you think, Julie? You think this consolidated recon is a good idea? Julie Ahrens, people will always spy. It's part of the game. I agree, Julie. That's why I'm concerned that this thing is a bit croutonic. Okay, so K-Challenge is supposed to be announcing, you know, we keep hearing, oh, it's coming this week. It's coming this week. They are going to announce, apparently. And when they do, you will have heard it here first. Stand by for K-Challenge. They're French. What can you expect? Well, I think they're just trying to get their ducks in a row. And, you know, they don't have a snowball's chance.
Well, they're such great sailors, though, as a nation.
Well, this guy, Mr. Candler, who's the head of the program and was in 2007 in Valencia, you know, who saved their biscuit. I told you this either on the air or off the air.
Yeah.
Was Dawn Riley. She was on that team as a sailor. She ended up as the general manager of K-Challenge, whatever they were called, in 2007 in Valencia, and did a terrific job. First female general GM of a team. So we'll see.
Maybe she'll come back.
And I won't tell you what Mr. Candler's dad did to make all the money he did. That's another issue. We'll let somebody else tell you that. Okay. We're almost an hour in. Let's see. It's getting to be sunny. There's a live shot again from our city of the day, Sydney.
It's changed.
It's changed now. It looks a little foggy there in the morning, a little misty. Whereas it, 8:54 in Auckland, so 6:54, closing in on 0700 in Sydney. See the Opera House there?
I love that shot.
I do too. We're going to do this thanks to our new computer. That's one feature we can do. Ed Worley, someone said that the K-Challenge budget will only be $40 million. Yes, that's what they're writing in the. In fact, if it's that much, I'll be amazed. Jonathan Frank. You see that comment?
No.
Julia, see his comment? He says,
oh,
they have a better chance than Long Beach. People keep asking me, when's Long Beach going to? Long Beach is not going to. They learned their lesson. I think Dawn is really happy. Yeah, Oak Cliff. Yeah, she won't. I like this new City of the Day feature. Thanks, Gordon Smith. Well, we'll feature your hometown. If you say anybody wants to send us a webcam, your favorite local webcam, we have one here at Golden Gate at St. Francis, looking out at the Golden Gate.
Yeah,
but it's controllable by other people. I mean, I can control it too, but you fight over the controls, and if they swivel it around.
Yeah.
If they pan over to Alcatraz Island instead of the Golden Gate Bridge, what's the point?
Well, you can also use Salesforce Tower.
Yeah, but can you control that? I don't want one to be controllable. I want it to be a fixed shot like this one is. So people aren't moving it around when you're just trying to say, hey, there's the Opera House, there's the Harbor Bridge.
Yeah, no, it's terrific.
Stingray saying, with a fancy new iMac Pro, can you improve the weather conditions in Sydney? It's a Mac Studio. It's the Mac Studio. Don't tease, Tom. Okay. And Julie, send us one from Cleveland. We'll put a camera. In fact, I think I got enough processing power in this new computer. Graphics power. We could probably put up a half a dozen different cities and say, oh, there's Gordon Smith in Denmark, and there's Sydney, and there's Auckland, and there's Cape Town down in South Africa, where, of course, Ted Ryman is.
Yes.
And let's go to a Bravo Zulu here. Where if I had one of Auckland, I would shift to Auckland right now. But I do have a video from just east of Auckland here in a few secs. It's going to be pretty good. But Bravo Zulu to the Kiwis. These are Royal New Zealand members and superb sailors. The Kiwis, men and women, have won the WASP, whatever they call international games. It's really their worlds, but they call it the international games to avoid conflict with ISAF and so on. This is an article by the esteemed PR at the Royal New Zealand Yacht Squadron, Billy Woodworth, dated yesterday. And some pictures. This was all on Sail World. In their first regatta, Billy's press release and put it on Sail World, in their first regatta back on the International WASP circuit, New Zealand sailors Sam Street, who we'll show you in a moment, and Elise Beavis. Now, I resist calling them Butthead and Beavis. I'm sure they're not. Sam Street and Elise Beavis have taken out both the men's and women's 2022 International WASP World Championship that was held from the 14th through the 17th of July in beautiful Lake Garda in a New Zealand clean sweep of the class.
Oh, nice. That's fun.
Really, really well done. There is the aforementioned Sam Street, who won the male division. After not being able to sail in WASP Regatta since 2020, Australian WASP Nationals, Sam was on top. I think that means he won the Nationals, was on top form from day one and stuck with the leaders from top 10 finishes, including winning race 2. He then won 2 races on day 2 alongside a second and a fourth to finish the qualifying, and he just went from strength to strength. It was an awesome week of very tight racing, he said modestly, because I think he really was dominant. The starts were insane, having 70 boats on the line for just the Gold Fleet after they'd done the qualies. So there were plenty of crashes, and finding a lane out of the carnage was critical. Great quote.
Yeah.
Billy Woodworth does a good job with these press releases, and doesn't talk about the weather in the first paragraph.
Imagine that.
And never uses the word champagne conditions. Andy Rose would be proud. We all would be. Now here's another picture of Elise, who, by the way, is with Emirates Team New Zealand. She's an engineer. She's a designer with ETNZ. So double bravo Zulu to Elise Beavis, who battled Norwegian Nora Dockstrad, I guess, over all 4 days of the regatta, with the 2 women being the standout performers in the open fleet from day 1. Elise saw an excellent start of the regatta with consistent finishes in the top 20 throughout qualifying, and despite a tough day 3 with shifty conditions, Lake Garda Elise kept stretching her lead over her fellow women competitors and stayed within striking distance of the overall top 20 all weekend. I think the men and the women sail together, so, and then they rank, they take the women out and have their own ranking, which is cool. So bravo Zulu to them. That's a terrific job, both by Sam and Elise. And congratulations to ETNZ and the Kiwi sailing fraternity in general. Luca Craig, who's in Auckland. I used to use the webcam down at the viaduct to see when ETNZ. Yeah, I remember that, Luca.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to go out to practice and bike down to have a look. Joe Holtzman, thank you for he sure is a winner. Yeah, Beavis is such a great name. Stingray said. And there's some cams showing up there from Graham Sweeney. We'll Graham, send me that link separately in case I lose it in the comments, would you? Because we'll use your Shetland camera here.
There are 2 more webcams. Ted Ryman sent one from Cape Town.
Oh, good. Okay.
And David James from Belvedere.
I see that. Okay, that's cool. We'll use those. And that let's stay in Auckland, stay in New Zealand for a minute, because our Fozy, our good friend Roger Mills, who's a videographer and photographer down there, has taken, it's just fun. I'm not going to play the whole thing. It's about 15 minutes long, but he's got some terrific video from over in the Tamaki River, Tamaki, I think it's called, and where that red dot is, I think where it's shot, it's actually shot over on this side from memory. It may even be up here from memory. When I lived in Auckland on and off for the Cup, in a place, the Sandspit on there. I think that's here, but correct me if I'm wrong. You will know, Luca Craig, if I'm pointing in the right place, if this is Sandspit here in the Tamaki River. And this video that he shot, Roger Mills shot, is, he says, kite surfers, Sandspit, Tamaki River, and shot it, I guess, today. It's obviously the 20th down there now, Wednesday the 20th, but a northerly wind was the right direction for kite surfers out on the river, on the Sandspit. Perfect location for getting the action on film. Enjoy. Look at that guy. He looks old. Looks like me, Julia. He's probably 10 years younger, but he's certainly fitter, has a better back than I. Roger Mills, superb. He's become a friend. I've never met him in person, I don't think, but we've communicated back and forth, especially during the Cup. He sent any number of videos. He had a lot of those, I wouldn't call them spy videos, but he was out taking good videos of all the teams. And shot this, and it's on his YouTube channel. Just Google Roger Mills YouTube, and you'll see. I'm not going to play the whole thing. Yeah, talk about core strength. Jonathan Frank is saying exactly. Look at that. This kid is great. And this goes on for about 15 minutes, so as I said, won't play the whole thing, but kind of like ice boaters, they figure out when there's good breeze. Look at how much fun he's having.
Yeah, great grin.
Okay, get where there's great breeze and where the conditions are right and the wind's blowing from the right direction, and obviously out of the north for that Tamaki River was the right place to be. It's why out here, Julie, in front, Chrissy Field, right in front of St. Francis Yacht Club, where the wind blows out of the west, and they can just go back and forth perpendicular to the shore, which is great.
Yeah,
fun indeed. Nice video, Roger Mills. Thank you very much. I commend it all to you on his YouTube channel. Here's the Sandspit. Okay, it does go on for quite some time beyond that.
That's fun.
Luca Craig saying, my parents are at Half Moon Bay, and I used to windsurf exactly where your video is showing. There is a sandbar that comes up and could tuck in behind and super smooth. Many moons ago, his knees are knackered. Are there any? There's a Stingray. There's a fair bit of. there's a fair bit of scoring events now where they're, you know, it's free form. And that's what they like to do.
Yeah.
This Olympic up and down stuff is not nearly as interesting for most of them. Nice. Gordon Smith saying thank you. Good stuff. Good stuff indeed. That brings us to correct and Crutonic. And I have, well, only one. I'm going to save the other correct or Crutonic for the D block for the final. When we do Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
All right.
But I'm asking you all if this is correct or Crutonic, and this via GBN, Britain's news channel. The British Triathlon is being praised, that is the Triathlon Council, their federation, praised for being true to itself over transgender inclusion. Now, true to itself, I saw that headline and said, oh, okay, I wonder what this means. Are they letting trans women compete against women? And no, they've come into what Paul Henderson long ago proposed for our sport, and I think makes a lot of sense for probably for most sports. British Triathlon has been praised for being true to itself over the issue of transgender inclusion by the president of the Commonwealth Games Federation. The national governing body announced earlier this month that from the start of 2023, it will have just 2 competition categories for over 12s, both at elite and grassroots level. There will be open and female, with the latter only open to athletes assigned the female sex at birth. In doing so, it became the first British sports governing body to include trans women in a new open category rather than one separate to the male and female categories. British Triathlon Chief Exec Andy Salmon said the move had been taken after extensive consultation within the sport and felt it struck the right balance between inclusivity and safety.
That's probably true.
And I thank Ted Ryman for sending me the link to that article this morning. Julia?
Yes.
Correct or Crutonic?
I think it's understandable. Whether it's correct or Crutonic is maybe for somebody else to decide.
You're so diplomatic.
Well, I mean,
you could be the Secretary General of the United Nations.
Any minute. But it's understandable. So.
Well, Ted Ryman, who sent us that article, says it's correct. Gordon Smith says, with absolutely no expertise nor references, I think this is correct. Fog Machine, saying having to go to these links is Crutonic.
Yes.
Clark Chapin's with Julia. Alan Long, correct. Fog Machine, tell us some more why you think it's Crutonic. John Emmett saying open category is logical, as I read up the comments.
It's permitting.
Not sure about this one. Chris Exley is not sure. Chris Stingray says correct. Alistair Murray, correct. David James, correct. I think it's inclusive. Everybody can compete. I do think it's grossly unfair for biological men, and maybe they're transitioning. Maybe they've got to work some more on that. I don't know the answer to that. But somebody who just has identified as a female, even though they're biologically male, to compete against females as we have in swimming in this country and some others is just, to me, is Crutonic.
No, that does not make sense.
So, open. And the nice thing about our sport is it basically is open.
Yes.
Everybody competes at the same, men and women, and compete well together. And whether you're
and that's more fun.
red, white, black, yellow, green,
yep.
Gay, straight, trans,
right.
Martian, Venetian.
Yeah.
Men are from Mars.
Women
are from Venus. Most everybody thinks it's correct. Nobody gets hurt. Good idea, Julie. Aarons is agreeing. My goodness, we have almost unanimity, Julia. Among the FOSI, Fog Machine, the result is correct, but what's led to it, and some of the events that have gone to the capital K court have been beyond Crutonic. Absolutely. Can 3-legged athletes also compete in the open cat? Why not, Stingray? Why frigging not?
Why not?
Which does bring us to the D block. And Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. This is the first one. I was going to put this in correct or Crutonic. Julia, do you know what that is? That's the Golden Gate Bridge.
I do know.
What is it? Do tell.
It's one of the models of a $20,000 trash can being considered for distribution throughout San Francisco.
Absolutely correct. And that the pictures just started showing up in our local media here in the last couple days of these. Now, okay, they're going to cost less than that if and when they mass produce them, but these are smart trash cans that are supposed to be artistically attractive. That I think even it's like these parking meters now. It's supposed to send a notice to when they need to be
refilled.
Not refilled, unfilled. What's the
empty.
opposite of refilled? Emptied. And they've shown them here at iconic locations in front of the ferry building. One of you identified the picture I put on my Facebook page. Here, the Golden Gate Bridge on the walkway, and on the east side of the bridge, looking across to David James over in Sausalito. And at 20 grand a pop, it's just astonishing. All I can say is Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. I'm sure everybody, the Fozy on here, could design something as attractive for a lot less money. Can that discard human waste? $20,000 for a smart trash can.
Yeah.
$1 million Darlex. What's Darlex, Graham Sweeney? It does look a little bit like R2D2, Ted Lyman. It's correct, but it's the okay, that's back on the other topic. Do the fancy new cans include wind condition sensors?
They better.
Ray is saying.
Yeah.
Worth it if they can act as toilets. Looks like a Doctor Who nemesis. Okay, Darlex, got it. Now I got the reference. Well, all I can say is Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, Julia. Your tax dollars at work.
Oh, well, we have to do something to clean up the streets, and that's one of the things that has been proposed.
That's not going to clean up the streets.
No.
More trash cans. Look at this thing. Trash cans aren't going to clean up the streets. Policing is going to clean up the streets. Thank God we recalled the DA here, the district attorney in San Francisco. Okay, this is a little politer, a little more relaxed. This came from my beloved mother. The Black Eyed Peas. Now, you can shake your finger at her just because this is, oops, I better not do that quite yet. The Black Eyed Peas can sing us a tune, but the chickpeas can only hum us one.
Okay.
Only my mother could come up with something that corny, but it's still okay.
It is okay.
It's still okay. Just okay. Now, Julia, you didn't shake your finger at her.
No.
She also sent this one. It's an oldie but goodie, and it's a good way to wrap up the show. And we've lost Talbot Wilson. When we've got Karen Chapin, who I'm going to talk about in a moment, who's seriously, injured from this car accident, but getting better. The pessimist complains about the wind. The optimist expects it to change, and the realist adjusts the sails and gives hugs all around.
Yes.
To everybody, not only your kids, but to your co-host.
Right.
To your friends, your neighbors, to your Commodore. When I go to the club, I'll give Pete Gilmore a hug today. He's a big huggy guy.
Yeah.
Bear of a guy. The realist adjusts the sail. Clark's calling for a rim shot. Or maybe on the previous one. Here's my rim shot. Okay. Banjo and hummus could be a fun combo. I don't know about that, Stingray. How are you going to get Julie Aaron's back on that trash can? She's saying, are you going to get people to use it? Well, that's the problem. You got to have, when somebody throws stuff on the, thanks, Mom. Thanks, Jan Dad, for that. When people throw stuff in the street or on the lawn or on the sidewalk,
or next to the trash rack,
you give them a ticket, and then you really enforce it. You don't. I mean, you know that in Michigan, when they started collecting the bottle, what do you call it? The deposit, and for cans and bottles and so on. Michigan was one of the first states in this country
to recycle
to do that. And you took your bottles, because everything in this is before cans, I think. You took your bottle, which a pain. Germany does a great job. You have the trink marks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, trink marks, where you take your bottles back and you get credit for it, and you buy them drinks and take them home, and you do that, and it's easy to do. It's not hard. But in Michigan, when they started the bottle deposit thing, the highway trash went to zero. Virtually nothing. People stopped throwing stuff out because they were saving their bottles, and that was part of it. The other thing was the message: hey, don't trash our beautiful state, our beautiful highways and parks and so on. Most obvious issue with the homeless is the fact they need homes. Yeah, Stingray, you got a problem up there in Seattle. We got a problem here, Portland, LA,
and homes that they will use and not shun.
Well, let's don't get into that here because that's a difficult topic to
it is.
solve, no doubt. And if anybody's got ideas, go. I hope you run for office, especially here in San Francisco.
Quickly.
We're to the finish line, and I got a nice video from Clark with an update on his beloved wife, Karen.
Good evening, Tom, Julia, and all the Fozy. I want to say I've been really touched by all the support that I've gotten from a whole bunch of people, some of whom I've never met in person, and how important that is in lifting my spirits in these trying times. I can say that my wife is doing better by the day, and we're all confident that she's going to make a full recovery. I'm truly touched by all the thoughts and prayers that everyone from all over the world has given to me, and it does bear me up and keep me going these days. Thanks a lot, and hope to have much better news for all of you soon.
And it is good news. And Clark sent along this photo just before we went there. He said, here's a photo from Happier Times. That's on our beloved Little Portage Lake, 650 acres just northwest of Ann Arbor. And Clark's a past commodore at that club and a very, very good sailor, by the way. And here with Karen, he said a photo from Happier Times on his Interlake, an 18-foot super boat with a kite and a little girl. I'm not sure who that is. Outstanding. Continued thoughts and prayers for Clark and Karen. Great to hear Gordon Smith is saying, and Jonathan Frank. Good on you, Clark. And indeed, we want to wish Karen a speedy recovery. Julia, your witness.
Yes. And in addition to like following and sharing with them, share yourself by clicking the button, and especially share because with your friends or people you know who would especially enjoy.
You want to do the next one about comments on the screen?
Comments are welcome too, even in replay.
You can do the next one too.
Support us on Patreon, which is really lifeblood to us. You can do it lots of ways. You can follow those directions or just send a check. We take everything.
We do, even a coffee.
Even coffee.
Even coffee. Okay, some final comments here. The third crew Clark was saying was my granddaughter, Lisa. That must be the daughter of Bill, his son Bill. Send 1,000,000 hearts. Ted Ryman said, yep. Joe Holtzman, who is from our lake originally, now living in Estes, Colorado, saying Clark was also an excellent crew. Yeah, Clark crewed for me in an event or 2 or 5. Good on you, Clark and Karen, Chris Exley. Everybody saying, what a great community we have, Julia.
Indeed.
Terrific community. Any final thoughts?
Let's keep community going.
What a great sport.
Yeah.
Great sport and a great community, our Fozy especially. And this guy, oh, there we go. That's good. Loud. Friday, we'll have Alistair's awesome anecdote of the week. And he sent it in, and it's about boat names. Don't miss it. It's really, really cool. And we'll have the Naval Band playing this again on Friday.
Lovely.
We hope you have a great rest of your week. See you on Friday. In the meantime, if you can, sail fast, sail safe, and have fun. Ciao for now. While the credits are rolling, a couple of you asked about the stats. What have we been, an hour and 19 minutes? We have dropped two frames due to rendering lag, 0 frames skipped due to encoding lag. We're streaming at 5,000 plus kilobits, 30 frames a second, 1080p, CPU usage 12.7% for you nerds. And frames dropped to network, virtually none. So, success with our new computer.
Yeah, it's fun. It really does look good.
Thanks, everybody.